In the contemporary imagination, the name Dracula often conjures images of brooding vampires, nocturnal escapades, and Gothic tales of the supernatural. This association, however, obscures the historical reality of the man behind the myth, Vlad III, commonly known as Vlad the Impaler. The most influential work was Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1897, which drew on Eastern European folklore and Vlad the Impaler to create the iconic Count Dracula. While popular culture has draped Vlad Dracula in vampiric lore, it is essential to peel back the layers of fiction and reveal the true nature of this historical figure. A just and strong ruler, a resolute defender of Europe against the Ottoman threat. Join us on a journey to uncover the complexities of Vlad Dracula's legacy, transcending the shadows of myth to unveil the remarkable story of a ruler whose strength and resilience left an indelible mark on Eastern European history. Vlad III's association with the name Dracula can be traced back to his father, Vlad II, who was a member of the Order of the Dragon. The name Dracula is derived from the Latin draken, meaning dragon, and the Romanian diminutive ulea, translating to son of or descendant of. Thus, Dracula literally means son of the dragon. The Order of the Dragon was a monarchical chivalric order only for selected higher aristocracy and monarchs, founded in 1408 by Sigismund of Luxembourg, who was then King of Hungary and Croatia and later became Holy Roman Emperor. It was fashioned after the military orders of the Crusades, requiring its initiates to defend the cross and fight the enemies of Christianity, particularly the Ottoman Empire. Members of the order, known as Draconists, included notable figures such as Stefan Lazarevic, Serbian prince and despot, Herman II, Count of Celje and Styrian prince, King Henry V of England, Alfonso V, King of Aragon and King of Sicily, and the renowned Albanian commander Skanderbeg. After a meeting with John Hunyadi, voivode of Transylvania, Vlad II did not support an Ottoman invasion of Transylvania in March 1442. The Ottoman Sultan, Murad II, ordered him to come to Gallipoli to demonstrate his loyalty. Vlad and Radu accompanied their father to the Ottoman Empire, where they were all imprisoned. Vlad Dracul was released before the end of the year, but Vlad and Radu remained hostages to secure his loyalty. In 1447, Vlad Dracul was dethroned by political rivals within Wallachia. His support for the Ottomans, seen as a diplomatic necessity, had incurred the wrath of local factions resistant to Ottoman influence. Seeking refuge in the fortress of Sibiu, Vlad Dracul believed he could secure the support needed to reclaim his throne. However, political intrigue and betrayal unfolded. The voivode of Transylvania, John Hunyadi, an erstwhile ally of Vlad Dracul, abandoned him. As Vlad Dracul attempted to negotiate with Hunyadi, he and his elder son Mircea were imprisoned under the false pretense of diplomatic discussions. The betrayal ran deep, as Hunyadi allied with factions opposing Vlad Dracul. The grim fate of Vlad's father and brother. In the aftermath, the father and son were taken to the fortress of Visegrad. In a sinister turn, the two were condemned to death. Vlad Dracul was murdered on the orders of Hunyadi, and his body was gruesomely displayed as a warning to others. Meanwhile, Mircea faced a similarly tragic fate, being buried alive. Vlad Dracula, who was away as a hostage in the Ottoman court during these events, received the grim news of his family's fate. The weight of vengeance fueled his resolve. His ascent to power became more than a pursuit of a throne. It transformed into a mission to avenge the unjust deaths of his father and brother. Vlad spent several years in Ottoman captivity, a period that profoundly influenced his later actions. Life in Ottoman captivity was challenging for Vlad. He was exposed to the intricacies of Ottoman politics, culture, and military strategies. This experience provided him with valuable insights into the workings of the Ottoman Empire, knowledge that he would later employ to his advantage. Despite the challenging circumstances, Vlad refused to succumb to the Ottoman influence. His resilience and determination during this period laid the groundwork for the fierce and independent ruler he would become. While in captivity, Vlad also faced the constant presence of his younger brother Radu, who embraced the Ottoman way of life, leading to a growing ideological divide between the two siblings. The circumstances surrounding Vlad's release from Ottoman captivity in the late 1440s remain veiled in historical uncertainty. Various possibilities, including political turmoil, shifting alliances, diplomatic negotiations, external influences, and potential escape scenarios, present plausible explanations. Vlad understood that success required strategic alliances. His first move was to seek support from powerful allies who shared a common enemy. Forming alliances with Moldavia and Hungary, Vlad built a coalition that would provide the military strength necessary to confront the Ottoman threat. Seizing the Wallachian throne required careful political maneuvering. With the support of his allies, Vlad orchestrated a series of strategic moves to destabilize the pro-Ottoman factions within Wallachia. His aim was not only to claim the throne, but to eradicate any remnants of the influence that had led to his family's downfall. In 1456, with Hungarian support, Vlad Dracula finally ascended to the Wallachian throne. His reign, characterized by a fierce determination to defend his realm against external threats and internal dissent, would soon earn him a fearsome reputation. In the intricate geopolitical chessboard of 15th century Eastern Europe, Vlad the Impaler's rise to power was inexorably tied to the relentless expansion of the Ottoman Empire. The Catholic West in Europe, concerned about the Ottoman threat, saw an opportunity to exploit regional tensions to safeguard their interests and push back against the Turkish expansion. Orthodox Christian rulers in the South Balkans, like Vlad, found themselves caught in the crossfire of the brewing conflict. The Catholic West sought to leverage these regional leaders, encouraging them to resist the Ottoman advance as a means of defending Europe from the encroaching Muslim power. The agenda was twofold: defend Catholicism and, perhaps more cynically, let the Orthodox Christians and Turks engage in a deadly struggle, weakening each other and providing an opening for Western influence. Vlad the Impaler's rule was characterized by an unyielding commitment to order and authority. For instance, the Skazani rights of a golden cup that nobody dared to steal at a fountain because Vlad hated stealing so violently. Vlad's deep disdain for criminal activities, especially theft, was so well known that it created a pervasive atmosphere of fear among the populace. The golden cup, placed prominently in a public space like a fountain, became a symbolic testament to Vlad's policies against theft. The ruler's reputation for ensuring that those who engaged in wrongdoing did not live long underscores the gravity of the consequences individuals faced if they dared to challenge Vlad's laws. In this context, the golden cup serves as more than just an object of material value. It becomes a powerful tool for maintaining social order. Vlad's strategy was not only to punish the guilty, but also to deter potential wrongdoers through the symbolic presence of the golden cup. Faced with internal strife, particularly from the Saxon merchants who had thrived on local exploitation, Vlad implemented strict rules and severe punishments to maintain control. His measures aimed at curbing the Saxons' economic dominance, however, triggered a chain reaction that reverberated far beyond the borders of Wallachia. Vlad's approach to governance included undermining the economic power of the Saxon towns in Transylvania. He stripped them of trade protections, favoring local merchants in order to strengthen Wallachia's independence. This move aligned with his broader efforts to centralize power and reduce the influence of external entities. Vlad Dracula's crackdown on Saxon economic exploitation triggered a fierce response, one that extended beyond the realms of trade disputes. The Saxons, feeling the economic pinch of Vlad's reforms, unleashed a formidable weapon, a campaign of malicious propaganda. The concoction of false accusations, embellished tales, and outright fabrications served as a potent tool to tarnish Vlad's reputation, ensuring that his legacy would be mired in dark and macabre tales. Suffering from the loss of their economic dominance, the Saxons engaged in a calculated smear campaign against Vlad. They skillfully crafted narratives that painted him as a sadistic monster, relishing in the suffering of his subjects. This propaganda aimed not only to discredit Vlad, but also to incite fear and repulsion among Western European powers. Out of this propaganda campaign emerged the grotesque legends that would overshadow Vlad's historical reality. Stories of him drinking the blood of his enemies, savoring the agony of torture, and reveling in sadistic pleasures were woven into the fabric of these distorted tales. The Saxons exploited the fertile ground of Western European imagination, crafting a narrative that played on the darkest fears and fantasies of the time. The Saxons, desperate to regain the upper hand and paint themselves as victims, embraced exaggeration and sensationalism. Vlad's stringent measures against the Saxons were twisted into horrifying depictions of cruelty. The impalements, a method employed for its symbolic and deterrent impact, became exaggerated into tales of mass blood drinking, transforming Vlad from a ruler defending his realm into a demonic figure feeding on the suffering of his people. The distorted legends crafted by the Saxons achieved their intended goal, shaping Western perceptions of Vlad Dracula. The monstrous image propagated by these tales overshadowed the geopolitical intricacies and complexities that led to Vlad's actions. The Western world, unaware of the economic and political machinations at play, began to perceive Vlad as a bloodthirsty tyrant, entrenching these mythical narratives into the broader understanding of his reign. In essence, the Saxons' retaliation went beyond the economic realm, delving into the realm of psychological warfare. The legends they spawned, filled with horror and brutality, eclipsed the nuanced reality of Vlad Dracula's rule, leaving an enduring legacy that continues to shroud his historical persona in an air of macabre mystery and sensationalism. Facing both internal and external threats, Vlad responded with characteristic ruthlessness. He initiated a purge of the boyars, swiftly and decisively eliminating those who posed a challenge to his authority. The shockwaves of Vlad's actions reverberated through the region, sending a clear message that disobedience would be met with brutal consequences. During his time in Ottoman captivity, Vlad the Impaler acquired invaluable knowledge of Ottoman military tactics and strategies. Little did his captors know that they were inadvertently providing him with the insights that he would later turn against them. As the Ottoman Empire expanded its influence over Wallachia, Vlad skillfully incorporated the lessons he learned during captivity into his defensive arsenal. Vlad's approach to warfare went beyond conventional methods, utilizing guerrilla warfare, a tactic not commonly employed by European rulers of his time. This unconventional strategy involved hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, and surprise raids. By utilizing the challenging terrain of Wallachia to his advantage, Vlad disrupted the predictable patterns of the larger Ottoman forces, showcasing the adaptability and resourcefulness required for a smaller, outnumbered army to withstand a formidable adversary. As the Ottoman forces pressed deeper into Wallachia, Vlad employed guerrilla tactics and scorched earth strategies. Villages were burned, fields were razed, and water sources were contaminated. Vlad aimed to make the conquest of Wallachia a costly and challenging endeavor for the Ottomans, inflicting pain at every turn. The historical accounts of Vlad employing a primitive form of chemical warfare add another layer to his unconventional tactics. Reports suggest that individuals afflicted with the bubonic plague were dispatched to Turkish towns with the intent of spreading the deadly disease. This macabre form of biological sabotage aimed to weaken the Ottoman forces from within. Vlad understood the power of psychological warfare. Upon entering Targovisti, the Sultan encountered a city that seemed abandoned. However, the eerie quiet was shattered when the Ottoman forces discovered the gruesome reality. 20,000 impaled Turkish soldiers lining the outskirts of the city. Never ever had any Ottoman emperor and the Ottoman army came across such horrific view. There was one corpse that was given special recognition by Vlad Dracula so that Mehmed II could pay attention towards it. This corpse was impaled on the tallest stake of all and was purposely well dressed. It was the corpse of Hamza Bey, Mehmed II's father-in-law and one of the commanders of the Ottoman army. Sultan Mehmed II arguably made a remark upon seeing the impaled Turkish soldiers that
"A man who has done this is worth much."
Vlad the Impaler's early years unfolded against the backdrop of geopolitical chess played by the Catholic West in Europe. Throughout history, the Vatican has consistently viewed Orthodox nations as adversaries due to their steadfast resistance to assimilation into Catholicism. The schism between the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church created a deep-seated religious divide, fostering an environment where the Vatican perceived Orthodox nations as a threat to its influence. The Orthodox nations, with their distinct religious traditions, posed a challenge to the Vatican's efforts to establish religious homogeneity under the umbrella of Catholicism. The refusal of Orthodox Christians to submit to the authority of the Pope and embrace Catholic doctrines intensified this perception of them as adversaries. To further its interests and weaken the power of these Orthodox nations, the Vatican strategically utilized external forces, most notably the Ottoman Empire. The Catholic powers in the north and west, driven by both religious and geopolitical motives, supported Orthodox Christian states like Serbia and Vlad's Wallachia against the Ottoman Empire. The intention was twofold: to defend Europe from Ottoman expansion and to instigate internal strife among Orthodox Christian nations, hoping they would weaken each other in the process. However, when the battles commenced, the promised support from the Catholic West did not materialize for leaders like Skanderbeg, Stefan Lazarevich, and Vlad III. The commitment wavered when faced with the prospect of a strong Orthodox ruler on their southeastern flank. The seeds of betrayal were sown in the fertile ground of religious differences, as Vlad's Orthodox faith became a barrier, preventing full acceptance and support from the Catholic powers. Vlad sought alliances with neighboring powers, including Hungary and Transylvania, to counter the Ottoman threat. However, these alliances were often tenuous, with shifting loyalties. Some historians speculate that Vlad's reliance on external support might have led to betrayal when his allies perceived a change in their strategic interests. The circumstances surrounding Vlad the Impaler's death remain speculative, woven into the complex tapestry of medieval politics and power struggles. While historical records provide glimpses into his military exploits, impalements, and alliances, the true nature of his demise eludes certainty. The enigma of Vlad's death continues to captivate historians, ensuring that the legacy of this formidable ruler endures through the ages. The historical echoes of Vlad the Impaler's demonization find resonance in modern times, where strong leaders who enact tough laws, combat corruption, and resist foreign influence often face concerted efforts to vilify them. This pattern has been evident in the narratives surrounding leaders like Saddam Hussein, Fidel Castro, Muammar Gaddafi, and Vladimir Putin, among many others. Saddam Hussein, once a key figure in the Middle East, implemented stringent measures to control dissent and stabilize Iraq. However, his resistance to Western influence and efforts to strengthen Iraq's autonomy led to his demonization. Western media portrayed him as a ruthless dictator, creating a narrative that justified intervention, ultimately leading to his downfall. Fidel Castro, the revolutionary leader of Cuba, challenged the status quo by establishing a socialist state, resisting external pressures, and advocating for economic independence. His alignment with the Soviet Union during the Cold War intensified Western media portrayals of him as a communist threat, leading to a heightened narrative of defiance against the U.S. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's enigmatic leader, pursued policies of economic independence and resisted external interference. His efforts to forge a united Africa, along with his nationalization of resources, made him a target for demonization. Western media narratives painted him as a madman, providing justification for intervention that resulted in his demise. In the case of Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, the narrative revolves around resisting foreign influence and reclaiming Russia's status as a global power. Putin's measures against corruption and efforts to strengthen the Russian state have earned him both support and vehement criticism. Western media narratives often portray him as a bloodthirsty dictator, attempting to sway public opinion against him. The parallels between Vlad the Impaler and these modern leaders lie in the tactics employed to undermine their authority. Just as Vlad faced demonization for his strong rule and resistance to external influence, contemporary leaders who challenge the status quo are met with narratives that depict them as villains. The goal remains consistent: garner public support for interventions that may serve foreign interests. This tactic of orchestrating narratives to destabilize leaders challenging the established order finds resonance in John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Perkins, a former economic hitman, details how powerful entities manipulate leaders and nations using a combination of economic pressure, media campaigns, and orchestrated public opinion to further their interests. This not only mirrors the demonization faced by Vlad the Impaler, but also highlights the enduring nature of such tactics across different historical and geopolitical landscapes. Whether in the 15th century Balkans or the contemporary global arena, the playbook for undermining strong leaders and reshaping narratives to serve foreign interests exhibits striking similarities. Understanding these historical and modern parallels sheds light on the enduring challenges faced by leaders who prioritize their nation's sovereignty and resist external influence. For these modern leaders, the consequences of demonization have been profound. It has justified interventions that disrupted their countries, countless assassination attempts, and in some cases, led to their downfall.
5 assassination attempts, I'm told. Not as much as Castro, who I've interviewed. I think he must have had 50, but there's a legitimate 5 I've heard about.
Я с Кастро разговаривал на этот счет. И он мне сказал, знаешь, почему я жив? Я спросил, почему? Ну, потому что я своей безопасностью всегда занимался лично.
The struggle for autonomy and resistance against foreign influence often comes at the cost of being painted as a villain on the global stage. Modern leaders grappling with similar challenges can learn from the historical patterns. The complexities of geopolitics and power dynamics underscore the importance of navigating internal challenges while understanding the potential consequences of resisting external influence. Vlad the Impaler's story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding leaders that the pursuit of sovereignty and strong governance may invite external efforts to undermine their legitimacy. As the narratives of modern leaders intertwine with historical echoes, the lessons from Vlad the Impaler's era resurface. The demonization of strong leaders underscores the challenges of navigating internal governance and external pressures, emphasizing the need for leaders to be vigilant in preserving their countries' autonomy amid a complex geopolitical landscape.